Hello, everyone, and welcome in. It's Aaron St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist. I've got Jesse Moeller with me at JMoeller05 and Jeremy Shulman at FF_Rebel. We are here with the NFL Week 13 Waiver Wire Show. How's it going, guys?
It is going. It's freezing. It's literally, so I'm in the Pacific Northwest, and we're not good with snow. So it's like 26 degrees, frost and snow outside, and I'm like, yeah, ain't built for this. We're just soft weather people up here. Let me tell you.
I'm in Canada, and we're used to snow, and it's not any easier up here. Trust me.
Yeah, or in Amsterdam. It's the dog days, boys. It's the dog days of almost winter, of fall, and it's the dog days of the fantasy season. We were just talking about where we're slogging toward the finish here, but
You know what?
at least half my teams are still in contention. So
You know what the best part? I know everyone hates this week because it's by Mageddon. You know why I'm psyched for this week? Because there's 6 teams not playing, which means there's 3 less games for me to have to write up or edit or recap. At this point, anything. Like last week was hell. We had extra days of football. We had 3 games on Thursday, a game on. Last week took a lot out of me, guys. I don't know how much I got left. And if you could find a waiver wire host, I think you should pick them up for week 14. Just saying. So, all right. I guess we'll get into it. It's going to be a real fun one. There's not a lot out there, and it is the worst bye week of the season so far, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look at my article. We'll start there and then go to Sleeper. Yeah, I can't remember there ever being so many backup quarterbacks playing at once. What a interesting looking gentleman there. Sorry. So
always has been.
Yeah, he's a vibe. Gardner's vibe.
So we've got some shallow league options at this point. If any of these guys are available in your single QB, Kyler and Howell are the prize. Geno is also a good option there. Get into the medium league options. We have Jordan Love, Russell Wilson, who has not been great despite the Denver winning streak, but he's been passable. Baker Mayfield, been about the same. Get a little deeper here. We've got Will Levis, Matthew Stafford, and Derek Carr, and the dart throws, Aiden O'Connell, Desmond Ridder, neither of whom I really want any part of, but if you're desperate, and Gardner Minshew, and I know he played, didn't have a great game, and he's got like 15 or fewer points in the last like 3 games, but they get a bit of an easier stretch of a schedule here, and at this point, if you're in a super flex league and we're on, one of your quarterbacks is on a bye this week, options are slim. So you kind of take who you can get. Aside from these guys, was there anyone that I missed or would you guys just want to talk about these guys? What do you think?
I mean, yeah, it's pretty ugly outside of these guys. So there's no one really catching my attention. Even the dart throw options, like Gardner's fine, but like you kind of know what you're getting from that list. It's not great. For me, the most interesting.
Sorry to interrupt. The only one on the sleeper top 10 that I missed, they have Kenny Pickett and Tim Boyle. I don't know. Kenny Pickett had his best game in 2 years, and it still wasn't a good fantasy game. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean Pickett's like he's interesting. He just because there's a little bit of rushing, but he just never gets fantasy points. So I'm good on Pickett. I think Russell and Jordan Love are the most interesting by far. Russell's schedule is freaking fantastic. So his next 3 games, he goes up against Houston, the Chargers, and Detroit. And Detroit can't stop anybody at the moment. So
did you say he was interesting?
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Like
you said all those guys were interesting. That's terrifying. That's truly terrifying.
It's rough out here, man.
I would say I would counter that with crabs are interesting. It doesn't mean I want them.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, them is a whole other.
I think that these quarterbacks are in that range.
Yeah. Crabs or Baker Mayfield. It's always a risk,
Thank you.
Oh,
sorry, I've taken us off the rails. I've got a lot of NyQuil in the old bloodstream right now.
Flying off the rails. Yeah. So Russell's got those 3 matchups. I'm like by far most confident in him. The only issue is like he's not passing at all. They're like not passing, but he had 11 rushing times last week. So if you're gonna freaking run it 11 times, like that piques my interest just for the Konami aspect of it. And he's been insanely better compared to last year. It's like a whole other quarterback has taken over that system. So yeah, like I have more confidence in Russell. Like I saw Geno's on the list. I don't even want to deal with Geno. Like I'm just not going that route. It's been so bad with him. So like he's higher rostered, but just skip him. And yeah, I mean if you can get your hands on Kyler, sure. But Kyler's been atrocious, like actually passing the ball. If you look at his stats, he's been really bad. Thankfully for fantasy, it doesn't matter because he's a rusher. So obviously it's Kyler. But yeah, I'm very much interested in him or Russell. And then
I
It's like
was
Baker
wrong.
and
I said the best part, the thing I was looking forward to most on week 13 was the less games. I'm wrong. The thing I'm looking forward to most this week is seeing the YouTube or the TikTok clip you make after this of me comparing the waiver wire quarterbacks to STDs. I can't
Yes, we're
wait to
doing
see
it.
me go viral for that.
Who do you want it to be? You want Baker to be the STD? Like, we can make that happen, no problem. Or we can do a Levis. We got
I
options.
think Baker
I think
already
that's
is
insulting to
STD.
STDs.
Walking STD.
That's insulting to
Poor
STDs.
Baker.
Yeah.
Poor Baker, man. Hey, we
Listen,
gotta comment.
Jordan Love, I definitely like. I mean, the weapons are coming alive, right? Second half of the year, you expect the rookies to come with it, and they are. And he's also kind of doing it without Musgrave, at least last week or two. I think Wicks was out last week as well, right? So once he gets the full complement back, I think the end of the season, Aaron Jones should be back, right, at some point. So that offense could be clicking. So I really don't mind the flyer on Jordan Love at this point to get ahead of the game. Sam Howell, we know he's the volume king. So you want to go out and grab him as well. He also, I believe, faces Miami this week. He did decently against Dallas last week in terms of fantasy. So he can put up points against the Dolphins. And then Aiden O'Connell had a surprisingly not completely awful game against Kansas City last week. He's on bye this week, but he's someone that I think you can pick up and maybe get serviceable points from in a super flex league if you have to.
Way to hedge your bets. I heard you say Aiden O'Connell had it. I'm thinking he's going to say Aiden O'Connell had a good game, and then you go, Aiden O'Connell had a surprisingly not terrible dog. I've got, oh yeah, way to hedge your bets. What do we got here? What's up, guys? Would you trade Thielen? That's a big one. Thielen, A-Chain, and Javonte for Chase and Jacobs? I think I would.
Yeah. Just like it's
I mean, in redraft.
Yeah, like I do that. I do that in probably. Yeah, for sure.
I think I would for sure in Dynasty as well. I wouldn't both. Yeah, I'd take that one.
Yeah, I think
it's close. It's close, but yeah, I'll take. I think Chase and Achane are probably the same at this point, and then or certainly Jacobs and Achane, high end Achane, right? Mm-hmm. So then Chase for Javonte and Thielen. Yeah, do it.
All right. Anything else to take away here at quarterback before we move on?
Don't
Derek Carr.
Yeah, and Tim Boyle. Stay away from those two. Just no.
Oh yeah,
it's hard no.
If I change my levels of from shallow, medium, deep, and dart throw to different levels of STD, you think I'd get fired for that?
Maybe. I mean, I guess we could talk to the boss and see what he says.
Depends where you're getting the STD from, right? As long as you're not mixing business and pleasure, you're good to go. Your body is your own temple or whatever.
You're getting me into a gray area here talking about mixing business with
protection,
pleasure.
My friends.
I'm going to plead the fifth.
Stay healthy out there, everyone.
No comment. No comment. I'm good.
It is the winter. People do want to warm up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, Okay, I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm about to say something stupid. Let's move on. All right.
You can tell we're on the struggle bus. Yeah, we're very much at that.
Sorry, I'm not up to speed here. We're a little out of it. Okay, we got running backs. Let's start. Shallow league. Zach Charbonnet, I think, is a great option. Keaton Mitchell and Kareem Hunt are decent options. Chuba Hubbard, A.J. Dillon, and Tyler Algier in the medium leagues. Deeper leagues, I would like to change this. I have Zach Moss, Ezekiel Elliott, Antonio Gibson. It was just announced that Jonathan Taylor may miss a couple of weeks with a thumb injury. If that is the case, Zach Moss goes up to this graphic right here. He is your league winner with potentially Zach Charbonnet. And then your dart throws are the Italian Samaje Parini and then Roy Freeman and Dearness Johnson. What do you guys think there? I would say the two to focus on for me are Zach Charbonnet and Zach. Are they both Moss? Zach's? Zach Charbonnet and Zach Moss. Pick a Zach.
It's a Zach's, baby. I think Chuba is actually interesting too. Like Chuba still, his role is so much better than Miles Sanders. Like he gets the passing out of work. It's like he's viable at least. Like because if you shut down the run game, at least you can get the passing. Miles Sanders is just a terrible receiving running back, so he's not giving you anything. But yeah, like if Taylor's out, Zach Moss is legit the league winner. That's going to push you into a championship because he was averaging close to 20 points a game before Taylor was like back and healthy. And that offense supports running backs. Gardner Minshew checks down. This is like the ideal situation. So if that injury is case in point, like just scrap everyone else, spend all your money on Zach Moss if that's the case, because that's what you're going to do. But like outside of that, it's, you know, Keaton Mitchell's interesting, but like, I don't know. I'm not super excited about him.
Yeah, we should.
You can get down.
You were talking about fab budget, we should also, mention that it's week 13. If you need something, don't worry about percentage. Drop everything you have. Like if you need a running back and Zach Moss or Charbonnet are available here, don't worry about percentage. Empty the bank. I don't care about saving money for the playoffs. By the time you get to half these games, there's only 3 people using the waiver wire anyways. So, sorry, go ahead. Continue, Jess.
No, you're good. I do think the most interesting one that's like not mentioned is Roshan, because he's on a bye this week, but he gets Detroit in week 14.
He was the one I don't have that was mentioned on Sleeper was him, but that's exactly it. I don't have him because he's listed as a bye. Yeah. He put up 10 carries for 35 yards and then 5 catches for 40, but the bye kind of, that was not a great week. It was usable, but I don't really want to add him this week on a bye. But yes, it's more if you're like you pass the waiver wire situation, right? And then it's just like you're getting into Friday and you're looking for a guy to stash, like that's definitely you should wait. I guess that's another thing though. Sorry, Jeremy. I don't mean to cut you guys off.
You're good.
That's another one where this depends on situation too, where we're in week 13. If you're set and you're in the playoffs, you can worry about stashing these long-term guys and not play for the 1 week bandage. If you're in a win now mode, don't be adding Roshan Johnson to stash him for 2 weeks or 3 weeks from now. Play like your life depends on it. So these are also very situational, but sorry, Jeremy, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to stick with Roshan because first of all, he had 74% of the snaps last night, which is by far his first time over 50% this season, right? And then he's got the bye, but Detroit, Cleveland, okay. But, if he's in the receiving game, that's not terrible for him. And then Arizona, Atlanta to finish out the season. So I really love Roshan as a stash. If he's going to continue to see that work, we know Evans probably, I think they re-signed him to the practice squad, but he's probably not going to be promoted again. So Roshan for me is a really great stash. And then Chuba should be the guy in Carolina. We just don't know how things are going to shake out. With everything being shaken up and Reich being jettisoned and the rest of those guys. So, does Miles get more work just because he's been paid? He shouldn't, but like, who knows what's going to happen there? Will Adam Thielen see less snaps? And they want to get some of the younger guys on the field. So I think it's just kind of a mess over there. I don't mind Chuba, but I'd prefer guys like Mitchell, Charbonnet, like you said, Moss, even P. Ryan over him. In a pinch.
I don't know who P. Ryan is. I've never heard of him.
Parini.
Oh, that guy. Okay. I know him. He's good. Yeah, add him. I think I don't mind Chuba. I just hate that offense. AJ Dillon, with Aaron Jones always down to injury, I don't mind either. I don't really want any of unless you're really desperate this week and you're just hoping for them to fall into the end zone. I wouldn't go for Algier, Gibson, Zeke, any of these guys over here. They're kind of just pray they fall into the end zone. But it's a bad week for buys, so you never know what you're gonna have to start.
Yeah, D'Ernest also and Royce, 2 nice flyers there if you need to. But they're just stashes at this point.
Yeah, D'Ernest got some more run last week because what's his name? ETN was out for a little bit. So, all righty then, let's move on. We are going to go to the wide receivers. We have shallow leagues. We have Jahan Dotson, Jacoby Myers. That's going to bother me right there. Jahan Dotson, Jacoby Myers, Josh Downs. Medium leagues, Christian Watson, Rashee Rice, Brandon Cooks. Deeper leagues, Jaden Reed, Curtis Samuel, Demario Douglas. Then we have Tutu Atwell, Jalen Hyatt, and Khalif Raymond for our dart throws. I'll switch over to Sleeper quickly. Sleeper also has Greg Dortch, Brandon Cooks. Don't really care for either of them. What do you guys think?
So Dortch is super interesting because the last 2 weeks he's got 8 and 9 targets. So it's really just out of nowhere. They're like, oh, guess what? This guy's actually a good wide receiver. We want to use him. So if he's seeing that type of volume, it's really hard to ignore because, like, I saw that we have the top guys listed. It's like Dotson and Myers. You just don't know what you're getting out of those two. So realistically, like, I don't have a lot of confidence in either one of those guys. Dotson's situations are great. He's just not seeing targets. And Jacoby Myers, it's Aiden O'Connell, so he's up and down. Like, the medium guys seem much more interesting to me, where it's Rashee Rice and Christian Watson. Those are the 2 guys above everybody else that I want rostered on my league because they have the chance to be the wide receiver ones on their team, right? Like we saw Watson, he's getting the most targets still. It's been up and down, but he finally hit last week and gave you what you're looking for. So if he's available, I'm very much hammering Christian Watson. Rashi Weiss, I don't know why he'd be available in the leagues, but he had the blow up game with injuries. Yeah, like those two guys by far like are the most interesting to me. And then if you want like a cheaper option, yeah, if they're unavailable, Demario Douglas, Pop Douglas, like he looks like a really nice third option. And then yeah, like you can take a flyer on Hyatt or like we're talking about Dortch because Jalen Hyatt, they need a wide receiver there. He did something, so hey, like you know what, another cheap guy to go after.
Yeah, I mean with Rashi Rice, I wrote this up in a Twitter post I did with rookies who broke out. He had going into this week the 12th best yak of any wide receiver in the NFL. And he put up 60, like an unofficial 60 yards of yak in this last game. So they were feeding him on screens, and he was just doing his best to gobble up those yards after the catch. He is a monster if they continue to feed him down the stretch. You have to go get Rashi if he's out there. And then, yep, I like Pop. I don't mind Tutu Atwell. It kind of just depends if I don't think they're going to continue feeding Kyron. I believe it was it Arizona this past week, which is why Kyron went off. Yeah. So they're not going to always. Kyron's not going to do this. So there's room for 3 wide receivers as long as Stafford stays upright and healthy. And so I don't mind Tutu and Jalen Hyatt. They're finally using him. DeVito can at least throw the ball up, and Hyatt's winning some contested catches, but he's also surprisingly wide open over the middle of the field sometimes. And DeVito's been able to get it to him, so I like him as well. A breakout game for him too this week.
Just hit him with a every time. So good.
Buddy,
it's always kind of tough this time of year to, by now, if they haven't broken out, it's getting really, we're getting down there in time. I'm basically looking to stash rookies. I don't really think I want any of these wide receivers with the, not to play this week. At this point, the only reason I'd be targeting a wide receiver is to stash one for later. I think most of them are a lot better options in Dynasty. If I had to pick, the Packers are always scary, but I think the Packers have been the most useful. Rashi Rice is also good, and Brandon Cooks has been somewhat usable.
Yeah,
Jalen Hyatt, I think, is poor man's Gabe Davis, but I don't mind him.
I would say Curtis Samuel is poor man's Gabe Davis. Stay away. He's just these are best ball players, right? Like I don't want anything to do with them, and I worry about Christian Watson too, right? Like it's just there's a lot of mouths to feed in that offense, and he's popping off some games, but you just never know when it's going to happen.
Yeah, like his usage is better than anyone else's on that chart. It just wasn't happening from early in the year. So it's just like the variance finally hit for him. It's just, you kind of bet you're making similar to Gabe Davis. Like it's a similar bet. You target those guys in good, like against bad defenses and you play them. And like sometimes you get fireworks, sometimes you don't. But yeah,
for me, I want Rashi, I want Pop, I want the guys who are going to see the consistent volume, or at least who I believe are going to see the consistent volume over those boom bust guys. So I know what I'm getting.
Yeah. And it's such a rough week with all the buys. Like I'm throwing a ton of fab at any one of these guys to get you through because this is the playoffs, right? So we need these guys. So if like they're available and you got Zay, you got Adams, all those guys on like bye weeks, like go ahead and throw money at them. Totally wrong with it.
Yep.
Next up, we've got the tight ends. Who would have thought we'd get to week 13 and the prizes among free agent waiver wire was the tight end position? Good God. This is where we are. So we've got some good options here. Trey McBride, Taysom Hill, Jake Ferguson, medium leagues for availability. We got Freiermuth, Logan Thomas, Isaiah Likely. Deeper leagues, Tyler Higbee, who went off right after Jeremy trash talked him on Twitter.
I did.
And then we have dart throws. We have Juwan Johnson, Tucker Kraft, and Adam Troutman. I almost tagged you to fantasy receipts on that Tyler Higbee one just because I thought it was hilarious. Right after that, touchdown!
And he did the like hold his back celebration on the first score too. Like
I mean, he did have like two catches for 10 yards and 2 touchdowns. But
2 touchdowns, what an asshole!
I think the obvious ones here are Freiermuth and McBride. Other than that, it's kind of just bye weeks. Yeah.
Higbee's only 2 touchdowns of the season on Sunday.
Well, yeah, because you shit talked him. That's why. Exactly. He sucked all year until you said something
ridiculous.
about
Yeah, I have no idea why Higley was on 31% of rosters to begin with. It's just like,
true.
you know what I'm saying?
There's some really deep leagues. That's why 32-man leagues, you don't have a choice.
God, it's rough in those leagues. Let me tell you what.
So what do you guys think here? McBride, Freiermuth, that's the
So like we talked about on the show yesterday, the fact that the coverage they played against Pittsburgh was like ideal for tight ends and Freiermuth, and that was their game plan going in. If they saw the coverage, they're going to hyper target him. That's what they did. So like we're not going to see Freiermuth usually dominate the targets. That's not how it works. In his career with Pittsburgh, he's been around 20%, give or take. He was like going alpha status the last game, so might need to bring down the thing with him. But yeah, it's like all these guys,
Jesse,
McBride by far.
Jesse, they play Arizona next week.
Ooh, baby. So fancy points. Fuck it. So all the money on Freiermuth. Let's go, baby. Wait, with that said, yeah, if McBride's available, like throw all your money at McBride. I don't even care.
Arizona's not a good matchup this year.
That's what
for tight
ends.
I
don't buy it. I don't buy it
because they're throwing it all to the wide receivers.
Yeah,
or running it on the ground. Maybe they're just dominating the Arizona defense.
I didn't say Arizona was good. I just said they're not bad against tight ends.
Yeah, sometimes you get lucky.
The guy I want to talk about. He didn't have a great game the last couple of weeks, but I don't hate throwing some fab on Taysom Hill. Derek Carr, he sucks. I mean, what was finally nice to see, and Jesse was saying this because it was true up until last week, is that Derek Carr was not connecting with Chris Olave. Somehow they found some sort of magic, and it was the Chris Olave show last week, except Olave went out and he's hurt, and Olave went out and he's hurt, and who knows, right? If he's going to be back after a concussion. Most players this season haven't been back the following week after concussion, so it could be the Taysom Hill show once again. They need him. They're up against Detroit. Detroit is just hemorrhaging yards, so I'd fire him up this week. You get Carolina and the New York Giants after that, so you can get a good stretch from Taysom Hill as once again kind of a top 6 tight end option.
They should let Olave play anyways because I need him for my fantasy team.
Well, and Shahid's probably going to be out too, so they're going to have like no starting quality wide receivers playing that game. Yeah, it's Taysom Hill show next week.
If they let Olave play with a concussion, you think he would be out there running routes like Jonathan Mingo?
Possibly. Just doing the little
catching balls like Jonathan Mingo on the sideline.
That's what I mean.
The body control.
Someone tweeted it. What's the opposite of a toe tap?
Yes, I did see that one. I did see that.
Carolina's like, this is the guy we want for Bryce Young. Yay! It's like, oof, rough scene out there.
Any other thoughts on the tight end situation here?
One, obviously, Trey McBride, like Jesse said. Also, Jake Ferguson. I just want every Dallas Cowboy I can get my hands on at this point. The schedule is amazing. Dak is balling. Tony Pollard is going to finish out the year super strong. I'm happy with all of these Cowboys, even after a down week from Ferguson. So I'd grab him for a couple of fab for sure.
Yeah, and as good as likely sounds, he's on a bye this week, so you're going to have to pivot other ways with him. So just keep that in mind.
All right. And I don't have the article written, but if you need a streamer at DST or Kicker, check back later on King Fantasy Sports for my weekly Crossing the Streams article. I haven't written it up in full, but I can tell you my DST streamers are the Miami Dolphins, who get the 3rd best matchup against Washington, the Indianapolis Colts, who get the 13th best matchup against Tennessee. I've got the Jags, who are getting a middle-of-the-pack matchup against Cincy, but with Jake Browning at quarterback. And I have the Chargers, who get the 4th best matchup against the Patriots. At Kicker, if you need a streamer there, I have Matt Gay on Indy against the 5th best matchup, Tennessee. I have Koo, who gets the 3rd best matchup against the Jets. Joey Sly, who hasn't been good, but typically Miami gives up lots of attempts there for field goals. And my last one is Cameron Dicker of the Chargers, who gets the 8th best matchup of the Patriots. So Dolphins, Colts, Jags, and Chargers on DST. Matt Gay, Younghoe Koo, Joey Sly, and Cameron Dicker at Kicker. Dicker at Kicker. And that's a wrap. All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. We will be back Thursday at noon for our, I believe it's NFC preview show. I forget what the Thursday nighter is. I feel like it's an NFC game.
It is.
I don't have it.
It is
it's Dallas and Seattle.
Yeah.
Oh, yay.
Check back Thursday for our NFC preview. For Aaron, Jesse, and Jeremy, thank you for tuning in. Take care and have a great day, everyone.
Later.